My name is Neil Anderson. My book review and case analysis is about the Texas City disaster of 1947. The book I chose to review is called The Texas City Disaster, 1947. It was written by Hugh Stevens and published in 1997. The book is an extraordinarily detailed chronological account and features in-depth root cause analysis of the disaster. The Texas City disaster occurred on Wednesday, April 16, 1947. It remains the worst industrial accident in U.S. history, with 581 confirmed dead and hundreds more unaccountable. It triggered the first ever class action lawsuit against the United States and generated damages in excess of $100 million, over $1 billion in today's dollars. Texas City is located 10 miles north of Galveston on Galveston Bay and affords deepwater access to the Gulf of Mexico. In 1947, the Texas City port and terminal area comprised 2 large chemical plants, 3 oil refineries, and numerous other commercial and residential areas, all built extremely close together and very close to the waterfront. Typical of many World War II era industrial boom towns, zoning laws were cursory and not rigorously enforced. At around 8 a.m. on Wednesday morning, stevedores loading bags of ammonium nitrate fertilizer on board the freighter SS Grand Camp reported a smoldering fire in the hold where nearly 2,100 tons of ammonium nitrate bags were already loaded. The initial cause of the fire may have been a discarded cigarette. Ammonium nitrate is an extremely volatile material, the same substance used in the Oklahoma City terror bombing, which destroyed the Murrah Federal Building in 1995. Water was initially used to try to put out the fire, but efforts to fight it were uncoordinated and lackadaisical. At approximately 8:50 a.m., the captain of the Grand Camp, in an effort to save his expensive cargo, ordered his crew to steam the hold, a process where the hold is sealed and steam is piped in instead of water to suppress the fire. Unfortunately, this made the fire worse and built up tremendous pressure inside the hold. At 9:12 a.m., the Grand Camp detonated in a tremendous explosion. Another freighter, moored 600 feet down the wharf, the SS High Flyer, was also in the process of loading bags of ammonium nitrate. The explosion of the Grand Camp cut High Flyer's mooring lines and caused her to crash into another ship in an adjacent slip where she became lodged. Incendiary fire from the Grand Camp also caused ignition of ammonium nitrate in the High Flyer's hold, which began smoldering just as the Grand Camp's cargo had done. No one realized what was going on with the High Flyer until much later in the day. At 9:20 p.m., 4 tugs from Galveston attempted to dislodge the High Flyer and tow her out into Galveston Bay, but they were unable to cut her loose. Finally, at 1:10 a.m. on Thursday morning, the High Flyer exploded with the same intensity the Grand Camp had 16 hours prior. The magnitude and impact of the explosions was unlike anything Texas City had experienced before. The first explosion disintegrated the Grand Camp and sent pieces of it 3,000 feet into the air. Molten ship fragments rained death and destruction onto the business district and waterfront. The blast caused a 15-foot tidal wave which flooded the surrounding area. Windows were shattered in Houston, 40 miles north, and people in Louisiana felt the shock wave 250 miles away. Most of the buildings within 1,000 feet of ground zero were completely leveled. Approximately 200 people on the waterfront were killed instantly, including all but 1 member of the Texas City Volunteer Fire Department. Hugh Stevens does a great job outlining all the issues with this disaster, and because it was so complex and involved so many people as well as public and private sector entities, there were a great many issues to deal with. In 1947, none of the emergency management best practices we have come to expect in any community in the U.S. were in existence. There was no FEMA, no Stafford Act, no National Incident Management System. Texas City was a catalyst for many subsequent landmark policy and procedure changes and innovations at local, state, and federal levels. Here are some of the subsequent policy and operational changes that happened as a result of the incident. I found 2 other books on the incident at my local library. City on Fire is a thorough but much more sensationalized treatment and reads a little too much like a historical novel. Disaster at Texas City is largely a photo essay. Both do a good job of bringing out the human side of the disaster. Hugh Stevens' book is an objective, well-organized, and thorough study of the Texas City disaster. In terms of historical research, root cause analysis, and how this disaster helped to shape modern emergency management policy and planning, this book is a highly credible, definitive source. Here are my references. Thanks so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.